Hi, if you haven't already printed your glossary, I would recommend printing it because it will be really helpful as we're filling in these first 3 worksheets. And it'll also probably be pretty helpful when you're doing your ALEX. So if you have any ink in your printer, I would print it. But if not, you can always go back to your Canvas page and look things up or have it open while you're doing your homework. So I have a copy here, so I will be referring to it as we begin our Module 4 geometry unit. So this is the fast version. We're not going to take a test on Module 4, but I did include like 6 to 8 questions on the final. So what we'll be doing over the next 2 days is just going over questions that give you background and enough practice that you will be successful on the final. Okay. There's 106 topics in geometry, so you definitely want to make sure you get started ASAP if you haven't already done so. So we're going to start with the fill in the blanks. And like I said, I have my glossary here by the side. So as we need it, we can look at it. So the side opposite the right angle of a triangle. So when you have a triangle with a right angle, the side opposite that, and it's in your packet. I believe it's on page... I was going to say page 1, but I guess not. Oh, it's on page 4 of your glossary. So the side opposite is called the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. So if you need to, you can write page 4 of the glossary there just so you can look at it. So the right angle's here. Side opposite is called the hypotenuse. These, by the way, are called the legs, the 2 sides that connect onto the right angle, but the side opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse. A triangle with no equal sides is called a... okay, well, let's go ahead and cross out hypotenuse first. And it's called a scalene triangle. So there's scalene. And I'm not going to keep going through the glossary. You'll just have to look for these. I'm sure this one's probably on page 4 too with the right triangle. So when there's no equal sides would be maybe something like this. So this side, and this side are all different lengths. We call that a scalene triangle. A quadrilateral with exactly 1 pair of opposite sides parallel is a trapezoid. Trapezoids look something like this. We've seen them when we were doing the pattern blocks. Remember how the trapezoid was red? So there's the trapezoid. A blank angle measures 90 degrees. That little box means 90 degrees, so that was called a right angle. So right is gone. A blank angle measures bigger than 90, but less than 180. We call that obtuse. I kind of think of it as like obese is big, so obtuse is a big angle. So larger than 90 degrees, it looks like this. And sometimes it helps to draw a picture. It will help you remember it. So this is an obtuse angle. And I know that comes from page 1 of your glossary because I have it open to that. So obtuse, think of obese, big. So obtuse is a big angle, bigger than 90. So this is 90 when it forms a right angle. If it's larger than 90, obtuse. On a circle, if we add 2 radii together, what do we call that? A diameter. So twice the radius of a circle. So a radius goes from the center to the outside. So this is an R, this is an R. So R plus R equals diameter. So the diameter is the whole thing from one side of the circle to the other, passing through the center. And like I said, I'm just expecting you to go through your glossary and look at this stuff. So I'm not taking a lot of time with it because you have the glossary and you can read through it. A parallelogram with 4 right angles. The minute I see 4 right angles, there's only 2 things it can be: rectangle or square. Those are the only figures we have with 4 right angles, and this one doesn't say anything about 4 equal sides, so it can't be a square. A square has to have 4 right angles and 4 equal sides. So if all it has is 4 right angles, then it would be a rectangle. Rectangle. There we go. A quadrilateral with opposite sides parallel. This gives it away. When opposite sides are parallel, it's a parallelogram. That's where it gets its name. So parallelogram. Probably one of the most misspelled words in math. So you have to spell the word parallel, which is already misspelled a lot, and then ogram. So parallelogram. A blank is a flat surface that extends indefinitely. So imagine your desktop going on forever. That is called a plane. There's plane. 2 intersecting lines form 2 pairs of... And there's a couple different answers for that. Did I cross off plane? I can't remember. Yep. They could have 2 pairs of opposite angles, 2 pairs of vertical angles, 2 pairs of adjacent angles. So that one, there's a couple answers to it. So let's come back to that. A solid with 2 circular bases and 1 curved side. So imagine a soup can. It has 2 circular bases and its sides are curved. Anybody know what that's called? A cylinder. So where is cylinder? There it is. And so if you wanted to draw a picture for that, this is how my geometry teacher taught us how to do it. And then you'd make that one dotted and then like that. Not the greatest, but that's okay. An angle can be measured in degrees, right? 90 degrees. See that little mark? So that would be degrees. Half the diameter of a circle. So we said this whole thing was the diameter all the way across. So half of it is a radius. So 2 radii make 1 diameter. So if you cut a diameter in half, it's a radius. So the radius goes from the center to the side, center to the side. You add 2 radii together, radii is the plural, you get diameter. Okay, so let's take radius off. Blank lines never meet. So what kind of lines never meet? Let's switch colors. Parallel lines. So you can draw a picture for those here out on the side. So that is what parallel lines look like. They never intersect, never meet. So parallel lines. And then go ahead and go up to the top and cross it off. I'm not going to keep moving the paper back and forth, so you guys can just cross it off too. And blank lines meet at a point. So what kind of lines are these called if they meet at a point? intersecting lines. So that's in the second column. A rectangle with, there it is. So the rectangle has four right angles. And then if you make it have 4 equal sides, it becomes a square. So square is where? I need you guys here to help me find these. Square. Oh, it's in the second to the last column above trapezoid. So when it has 4 right angles, which a rectangle has, and then you make it have 4 equal sides too, it becomes a square. So here's a rectangle, here's a square. So they both have 4 equal angles, 4 90-degree angles, but then the square also has 4 equal sides. A blank angle measures 0 to 90. So when things are small, we call them cute, because 0 to 90 means it's small. So this would be acute. I'm going to teach you all the tricks I use. So big is obese, that's obtuse. Small is cutesy, so it's an acute angle. So that's the first word on the list. 2 intersecting lines are blank if they form right angles. So let's draw this picture. So they intersect and they form right angles. You guys remember from your geometry days what those are called? Perpendicular, which is the last word in the first column, the last one to be crossed out. So they're perpendicular. So they're just intersecting lines if they just intersect. But if they intersect and form right angles, then they're called perpendicular. And we use that little box to show right angles. An angle that measures 180 degrees is a straight angle. So that one makes sense, right? So straight is in the second to the last column at the top. A blank is made up of 2 rays that share a common endpoint. So this is a ray. Join 2 rays that share this common endpoint, and what do we have? An angle. So an angle is made up of 2 rays, one ray plus another ray, and they share a common endpoint. And let's see, what else do they want? Which is called so that common endpoint is called the vertex. So vertex is generally thought of as a corner. So like here, this would be the vertex of the rectangle, vertex of the rectangle. So corners where 2 sides meet are called a vertex. Whoops, didn't cross that one off, did I? Oh, that one's in the third column. A blank is part of a line with one endpoint. So one endpoint, it's only part of a line. So that's the ray that we were just talking about, right? So we still don't know this one yet because, as I told you, it can be adjacent or vertical. Let's say 2 intersecting lines form 2 pairs of adjacent would be 1, 2. I think it's going to be vertical, but let's wait, okay? Pretty sure it's going to be vertical. Okay, let's go to the back side. Keep this page handy though, because we're going to need to still continue to cross it out. A blank is a set of points extending indefinitely in 2 directions. So if we go forever in both directions, that is a line. And we'll pick up from there on the next video.